Bueno, pues es un gran placer saludarles. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas. There are logic and mathematics teachers. We invite to the join use for the International Conference on Teaching Logic and Mathematics, organized by the Center for Research and Teaching in Mathematics, in collaboration with the Barkey Foundation Education Ambassadors. The conference will be held online and is open to the all interested teachers. Pues, estimados profesores, profesores de lógica y matemáticas, los invitamos a que nos acompañen a esta conferencia internacional sobre enseñanza de la lógica y matemáticas, que es organizada por el Centro de Investigación y Ciencia de las Matemáticas en colaboración con los embajadores de la educación de la Fundación Barkey. Es una conferencia que se realiza en formato virtual y además es de libre acceso para todos los docentes interesados. We are delighted to have you with use from your homes and enjoy the series of lectures on teaching logic and mathematics, featuring renowned professors from New Zealand, Nigeria, Peru, and Mexico. Welcome, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Nos sentimos complacidos de contar con su presencia desde sus hogares y disfrutar de esta serie de conferencias sobre enseñanza de la lógica y matemáticas, que contará con la participación de reconocidos profesores de Nueva Zelanda, Nigeria, Perú y México. Bienvenidos, es un gran placer contar con su presencia. Y bueno, we invite Professor Subash Chandar of New Zealand to begin his presentation. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos, profesor Subash Chandar. Un placer.
Hola, ¿cómo
bienvenido.
Gracias. Permiso, yo mi español es muy mal porque yo no practicar hablar aquí en Nueva Zelanda. Entonces, esta presentación yo hablo en inglés.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos, por aceptar esta invitación.
Okay, gracias. Okay, so share screen. ¿Dónde está share screen? Okay, Infinite Lessons Learned, share. If I go share. Oh, no. Present. Very nice. Okay. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Para mí son las 9 en la mañana, so 9 a.m. in the morning. Thank you so much for that introduction, Professor Rivera. Today, I would like to share a very small journey in my teaching profession and how what I did actually changed a few things within our department. So just to give you a backstory or a story behind what happened, the first thing I want to share is this particular quote. This quote is very, very important for me because I think as teachers, we always have to be ready to change at any moment, to sacrifice and to become what you could be. I hope the Spanish translation is correct. Lo importante es esto, ser capaz en cualquier momento de sacrificar lo que eres por lo que podrías llegar a ser. Es muy importante. Little bit about myself. Este es muy importante. This is in 2007 when I first started teaching graphs. I was using overhead projector and I was moving the graph. That was my finger, and that's moving the graph when I was started teaching. 10 years later, we have Desmos, and I can do everything in Desmos, and it's colorful, it's beautiful. And now with the introduction of AI, there's so much more that we can actually do. So teaching is always changing, and we have to be ready for changing. So I have a double life. During mañana, during daytime, I am a teacher. I'm a maths teacher. And then in the nighttime, I go as Infinity Plus One. I run a YouTube channel for students in all over New Zealand studying maths. I do it for free. So 8 o'clock, I come online and I offer tutorials. And it can be, anyone can join, even if you have students from Mexico, they can join, where I go through and I work through problems. But my story, it begins at this school called Manariwa High School. I worked there for 5 years. And this is where I learned the most important thing about teaching is the relationships that you build with your students. If you do not have relationships with your students, then you can be an amazing teacher, but if you don't have that connection with the students, then you're not going to go anywhere. I took 1 year off, so 2012. My wife and myself, we traveled for 393 days around, and so we visited Mexico. We started from we landed in Cancun, and then we made our way to Tulum, and then San Cristobal de las Casas, Oaxaca, and then Mexico City. So I love. We loved Mexico. Right now, our favorite food that my son, who is 8-year-old, he loves birria tacos. So we always we've been talking about coming to Mexico just for him to try the famous tacos. But during that time, I spent some time in Bali, where I was working with around 50 children. And we were teaching with no technology. So if you think about it, I come from a place where we have projectors, we have worksheets, we have all of this. And I get put inside a place where they tell me, you've got no technology, no whiteboard, nothing, just teach. And there I learned a lot about differentiated learning. Move forward, I started in Ormiston Senior College, 7 years. And this is where I found that if you have a very supportive senior leadership team or supportive principal, admin, then you as a teacher can really try lots of different things. And majority of my talk is going to be focused on this particular period. Now I'm in Ormiston Junior College, so I teach little kids. And again, I'm continuing my work that I started as at the senior college. So one thing that I always say is like in 2013, what happened was I was introduced to a tablet. And with a tablet, this was in 2013, I was playing around and trying to understand how I can become a better teacher. And one of my students, they came and said to me, they asked me for a question one day, and I explained to them. And then that was in the morning. Then at 11 o'clock, another student came, asked me the same question. I explained again. Then at lunchtime, another student came, asked me the same question. And again, I explained the same thing. So, and by the end of the day, I saw a problem. The problem was students wanted to learn when they wanted to learn. So that's where I had the idea of creating a YouTube channel. So I created a YouTube channel called Infinity Plus One, where I made lots of maths videos for students in my class. That's how this journey actually started, and I think I then decided that we have Saturday morning workshops in New Zealand, so all the maths teachers, just like how we're doing here, except this is online. But in New Zealand, we actually have Saturday morning where all the teachers can come together at a school and they learn. So I did my first workshop on flip learning. This is in 2014. But what was really important was, I think that was the first time in a long time as a teacher, I felt that someone else was critiquing me, like someone telling me, hey, what about this? What about this? Because in a classroom, we are in four walls, and we are always, no one is looking at us and telling us, hey, Subash, you could do this better, or hey, you're doing this really good. So when I started presenting, I started getting feedback, and people started looking at things and saying, hey, you could do this better. And so I started getting better. So I was more brave in trying new things. And I think what happened was it became like an addiction. So I started trying new things in my classes all the time. So first it was making YouTube videos. So I started with making YouTube videos. Then I tried with this app called Docery, and I was learning how to make the videos. Then I was working on YouTube. Then Desmos suddenly became very big in 2016. I started doing a lot of workshops on Desmos. In 2017, I found this robot called Sphero, and I was using that for high school mathematics. And it has, I have talked about this at ISTE. And, a lot of children, when they do trigonometry and bearings, they really struggle to see how the angles actually work. And I used this robot, and I got the students to program the angle that the robot needs to turn and so on. And some of the best learning came from for trigonometry using these robots. But I didn't stop there. I kept discovering new things I could use in my classroom. So BlockSCAD, and then I did Flipgrid, OneNote. But of course, now the biggest topic in education or in the world is AI. And for me, I am still learning, and I'm still trying new things with AI in my classroom. And I'm going to be sharing some work in about a couple of months' time, and I'm still very excited by it. Also very, very scared about it, because a lot of times people are saying, if you have AI, why do you need teachers? I still think that the teachers are important, because we still have the human connection that's actually needed for every child. And I think it's learning how to work with, it's a tool. AI is a tool, and it's us learning how to use that tool in our classroom. Because 20 years ago, when the calculator came, we said calculators are bad. We need to remember everything in our heads. Then we moved away from that. And I think we need to think of AI as just another tool that we're going to use to support the learning, but it's not going to do the learning for the kids. So something to keep in mind. But also, I loved, like, when I found that when I presented, I shared a lot of ideas. I received a lot of feedback. So I started asking my colleagues. At that time, I was head of department for my team in my school. And one of my proudest moments was having multiple teachers from our school presenting on multiple topics during one of the professional, like a conference like this, where they presented to multiple people. Now, when those teachers presented and they came back to me and I said, how did you find about presenting? They said it was really good, because they talked about their learning, but all these other teachers, they asked them questions which made them think, oh, I didn't think about it. I want to become better at what I do. So one of the big things I encourage people to do is I encourage people to share their learning. So in these types of conferences, it's really important to present what you do in your classroom, because when you present ideas in your classroom to other teachers, you actually start thinking more deeply about what you're doing in the classroom. If you just do it in the class, you kind of say, okay, yep, I've done it, move on, come back the next day, try something good, okay, move on. But when you present, there's a lot of feedback that you actually get from other teachers. And that year, by the end of the year, my whole team was ready to present. But unfortunately, there was one conference we went to, and I said, look, I've got 7 teachers that can present on variety of different topics. And the organization, they said, oh, look, it's we can probably do maybe 4, but we can't allow you to have 7 teachers presenting. Now, me, like a teacher being me, I think of that and I go, well, how can I change this? Because I want my teachers to present. I want my team to present. And if somebody doesn't want to give me that opportunity, then my brain says, well, why can't I just create that opportunity? So what I did was I think I put out a message to all the maths teachers, and I said, look, we're going to do a free maths professional learning day on a Saturday, and we invite anyone from New Zealand to come. And weirdly enough, I think we had about just over 70 teachers that came to our school, and my team presented from their classrooms. So when we couldn't go out and present, I thought, why don't we change it? Why don't we invite all the teachers to come to my school and look at my teachers in their classrooms? So it was slightly, it was very challenging, because a lot of people were like, oh, what's this going to be like? But I felt that when I opened the doors like this, and I suggested this is how we should do professional learning moving forward, that we actually have little mini conferences in different schools, and the teachers come to the schools and they learn how they do things there. And so for me, that idea was very much, I really wanted that idea to take off. However, when it came to that year, nobody else wanted to do something like that, because as teachers, we are always scared. We tell our students to be not afraid, but I see a lot of teachers that are actually afraid to try new things or afraid to fail. So, and as maths teachers, I feel that, or even as logic teachers, is that if you fail, if you try something, you fail, you know that this doesn't work. But if you don't attempt, then you never know. So I keep encouraging teachers to attempt. So after 1 year, no one opened the door. So I said, okay, we'll open our doors again. And so in 2019, we hosted Ormiston Maths Day. But this time, I actually invited other teachers from other schools to come and speak. Now, all these events, they were all kept free. I didn't want to charge any money for teachers to come to the day, because I felt that I didn't want anything to stop them from coming to these days. So I kept it on Saturdays. I kept it free. But in 2019, I did one thing different, because what I did was, because we had so many teachers that came, I actually went and asked a whole bunch of stall holders. So these are all like the book holders, and they do educational books, educational resources. I asked them all to come down to our school to set up a stall. And I said to them, look, and they asked me, how much do we pay you? And I said, can you guys buy the food for all the teachers? And they said, yes, we can buy all the food, because I didn't want to make any profit. The school didn't want to make any profit. It was about creating an environment where teachers can learn, and where teachers don't feel like they need to pay money to learn, but it's also an opportunity for them to connect and network. So when we did this, what I noticed was the stall holders, they were very happy to come in and just buy food for the teachers. So my department didn't spend any money. The teachers didn't spend any money. And the stall holders, they had the opportunity to sell some of their books during the time that they were actually there. So it was basically, I call this the the win-win formula. But what we also did was for the gifts, we went to the technology department and we said, hey, can you take some wood and maybe engrave some of these, Olmsted Maths Day presenter, and we would like to give them as gifts. These wood they were cheap, not cheap wood. They were leftover wood from prize giving from the previous year. And they were like very small. They were very small ones that we took out, and we actually made awards for them. So it didn't cost us any money to create these little awards. So we were always looking for ways how we can make this event happen so everybody is a winner in coming to this day. So we actually call this the win-win-win formula. For the teachers, when they came to the day, they got something for free, so they won. The stall holders that came through, they sold some of their resources, and so for them, they won. And ultimately, we as a department, we had a win because we actually learned a lot from our teachers. Now, in saying that, I'm going to go back to this. It's the important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you could become. Now, we sacrificed at that point. What happened after that was the most important thing, because the moment when we did that, our department became much stronger. We never said to, in your school, you have your own classes, and the teachers will always say, my kids, my class, my group. The language changed in our school. We no longer said my kids, my class. We said our kids, our class. We are working, all teachers are working together to make this better for our children. But not just for our children, but we also wanted to make this better for our teachers that were working with us. So that's my little small story that I wanted to share with you. And as teachers, I think we cannot be afraid, especially as maths teachers, because when we are encouraging our students to make mistakes all the time, it's also important that we live that, we actually live what we say. So we shouldn't be afraid to fail. And I think when you take that mindset, when you say, I'm going to do this, and whether it's success or not success, no problem. I will learn from it and I will keep moving forward. So pretty much that's just a quick little wrap up. Thank you, Professor Rivera, for having me here. And I thought I'll leave 5 minutes. If there's any questions, if people have any questions, then I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you again. And if you need any, my email address is there. If you do need anything, please reach out to me. And if you have any questions later, I'm happy to help. So my YouTube channel is Infinity Plus One. It's anybody can access the resources there. I have a lot of skills videos and so on. But if you need anything else, help with anything else, please reach out to me. That's my email address, and I'm happy to support in any way. Muchas gracias.
Okay. Muchas gracias, profesor Subash. Muy bien. ¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta, algún comentario que desea hacer al profesor? Por favor, con mucho gusto. Puede hacerlo en español y podemos traducirlo al profesor, o puede directamente hacerlo en inglés. Sí, adelante, por favor, profesora Mónica, si es tan amable.
Your mic's on.
Felicitar al grupo de investigadores que se ha dado la tarea de hacer prácticas trascendentales, no importando el contexto, y su eslogan que pone que para trascender tenemos que aprender a ser diferentes. En cualquier lugar del mundo existe esa sensación y ese talento, y qué bien por el proyecto que ha connotado a través de todas las participaciones en los diferentes años. Felicidades.
I would need a translation, please.
Yeah. Okay. Many congratulations to you and your team. And and I like your slogan.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gracias, gracias.
Congratulations. Congratulations. ¿Alguien
Muchas
más?
gracias, Mónica.
¿Alguien más desea hacer algún comentario o alguna pregunta para el profesor Subash? Maestra Patti, por favor, adelante, si es tan amable.
Gracias, doctor. Quisiera practicar mi inglés, pero no, no creo poder expresarme de la forma adecuada, entonces si usted me hace favor de traducirlo.
Claro.
A lo que entendí está en Nueva Zelanda y quisiera saber si no, no hay el impedimento como en estas zonas de Latinoamérica que no se tenga la conectividad o la falta de recursos para poder llevar a cabo las tareas que menciona, sobre todo porque sé que utiliza mucho YouTube.
Ok, perfecto. There no storage of resources for learning in your country?
Sorry, results for what in my country?
For learning in your country?
Yeah, so we have exams at the end of the year. So we have three levels of exams.
Yeah.
Before university, you have one major level, NCA level 3, and then before that level 2, NCA level 1. So all examinations, 3 years of 3 años of exams before universidad.
Okay. From your experience, what do it mean to learn in math?
For me, learning maths is and I might actually get a translation for this because I want to say the right word. Resilience. Matemáticas es constructor de resiliencia.
Yeah. Wow.
Para mí, it is maths for me is the only subject that constructs a constructor de resiliencia. So ahora es muy importante para niños practicar matemáticas, porque matemáticas es constructor de resiliencia. I hope I made sense.
Muy bien. Es una definición muy bonita de lo que las matemáticas pueden significar para las personas. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, gracias.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta más, algún comentario para el profesor? Bueno, pues agradecemos mucho. Mi agradecimiento para usted. Many thanks to you, Subash Chandar. Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ok, y bueno, ahora vamos a continuar entonces con nuestra segunda presentación. Me siento profundamente agradecido de que nos acompañe el profesor Kayode Adewale de Nigeria. Welcome, Professor. Welcome, Professor Kayode Adewale. Welcome. We wait, Professor, to begin his presentation, please.
Yes, good evening from Nigeria. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I listen.
Yeah, so sorry for joining late. Unfortunately, today is my mommy's birthday, so I've been in the midst of celebrating her. since morning, so I'm so sorry for joining late. So my name is Dr. Kayode Adewale. I'm one of the top 50 finalists for this year Global Teacher Prize. I'm also an education ambassador of my own state here in Nigeria. In the year 2023, I was the second runner-up best teacher in Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm a Fulbright T Fellow, meaning I'm one of the 151 teachers selected to participate in Fulbright in 2023 in US. I was also in US in 2024 for Limitless Global Educator Program, talking about space exploration. Of course, I know I had talking about the. Hello, can you hear me clearly? Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
I said, can you hear me clearly?
No. Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So when we are talking, I'm a mathematics teacher, and I joined the teaching profession in the year 2000 and 2006 after I graduated in 2004 as a primary school teacher. In 2006, in 2008, I changed my career from primary school teacher to secondary school teacher. So I've been teaching mathematics now for over 20 years as a teacher. And one thing I see about the subject mathematics, of course, it's a universal language. Like I said, it's a universal language that everybody speaks. As we are talking now, I know we are targeting that, okay, if you are spending 2 hours on this call, once it is 2 hours, all of us, we have to leave here. Either the Google Meet time us out, or we started taking excuses that, oh, it's already 2 hours. And we are able to know that it is 2 hours because of our knowledge of mathematics. And that is what makes mathematics a universal language. And another thing about mathematics is that it's a universal language because it's involved in everything we do on our daily basis. When you look at everything that we are doing on our daily basis, talk about those ones that require you moving. You want to use your car. If you want to go on a speedometer of 40 speedometer, you have to be looking at your dashboard to see the speedometer moving. And you see that everything is still in mathematics. And that is what makes mathematics a universal language that every one of us speak. Here I am in Nigeria, 1 + 1 is 2. And I'm very sure it is not different from Mexico. It's not different from any part of the world. And that's what makes mathematics a universal language. And of course, in terms of numbers and in terms of everything, here in Nigeria, we see mathematics as a subject. It is compulsory across all levels, right from elementary classes to tertiary. Mathematics is very compulsory because we so much believe you cannot do without mathematics. So in Nigeria, we run what we call 6334 system of education. The first 6 years, you are spending it at elementary stage. That is what we call primary school. That is elementary stage. So that elementary stage, you have to take mathematics from basic 1 to basic 6, which is very compulsory. So the next 3 is for junior classes. We call it junior classes because at that stage, that is secondary school level. So the secondary school level is basically divided into 2. The first 3 is for junior section, while the next 3 is for senior section. So at that point too, mathematics is a core subject. It's very important to the level that if you don't pass that mathematics as a subject, you cannot gain admission to complete the 4th 4, which is the tertiary education. And in Nigeria, we have 3 tertiary education. We have what is called polytechnic, we have what is called college of education, then we have what we call university. So at college of education, that is where we produce our technician, those that deal with vocational works and every other things. So that is, we deal with them at polytechnic. Then at college of education, that is where we train our teachers, and those are those schools that people like us attended to become a teacher that is known throughout the world today. And of course, the university is a 4-year course. Once you pass university, at a university level, there are 3 stages. You can do your first degree for 4 years. You can come back for 1.5 years for your master's, which you call second degree. Then you can come up for your PhD for minimum of 3 years and maximum of 7 years for your doctorate program. So at all this level we are talking about, mathematics is important. And that is what makes mathematics as one of the most important subjects that nobody can play or joke with as a teacher in Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I'm very sure that is the way it is to every other members of the world as it is now. Of course, if you look at the time here now, we have people from New Zealand, we have people from Mexico, we have people from Peru, we have about 3 people from Mexico here. All these people, they were checking the time zone and they were using the knowledge of mathematics to capture the movement of the timing. And that is what makes mathematics a very important subject for us in any part of the world. So on this note, let me just appreciate the organizers of this international conference, which is talking about the mathematics teacher. For this international conference of teaching logic and mathematics, I really want to appreciate the Center for Research and Teaching Mathematics in collaboration with that of the Foundation of Educational Ambassador. So of course, this is virtual. We are still looking forward if there is a way we can have opportunity to come to Mexico to have a physical conference like this, where we can do a lot of demonstration around mathematics that will prove to you that mathematics is a universal language that every one of us must understand and must see as one of. As a teacher, I have, for my over 20 years experience in the teaching profession, we have tried to, look for different ways to make mathematics become simple for people. Here in Nigeria, one of those things that won me Global Teacher Prize is because I have been using the primary language to teach the subject in Nigeria. And I've been an advocate of using the modern language, the modern tongue, the modern language to teach the subject that will make the subject stick into the brain of all the students, and it will make them to have confidence in the subject called mathematics. So far so good. That is how far we can go. If you have any question, you can drop it in the chat for me, and I will definitely respond to that. So I want to appreciate the organizer for giving us that opportunity to come up and say something about mathematics education in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kayode, Adewale. Thank you. We are very pleased to have you participate. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and experience with us. It has been a pleasure having you with us. Okay, bueno, ¿alguien tiene alguna pregunta para el profesor Adewale? ¿Alguien que desea hacer alguna pregunta? Podemos con mucho gusto trasladarla al inglés para el profesor. El profesor nos acompaña desde Nigeria y agradecemos profundamente que esté con nosotros, que nos comparta sus experiencias. Ok, bueno, pueden escribirnos sus preguntas en el chat. Ok. Maestra, adelante, profesora Doris, por favor, si es tan amable.
Muchas gracias, Dr. Jesús. Nice to meet you, teacher. I have a question. Do you have an strategy about the teach of maths in the life or in the school? One strategy or some strategies do you use to teach math, please?
All right, thank you very much. The moderator, do you want me to respond to this now? or we take more questions? Yes, do you want me to respond to this now, or we take other questions?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you very much. I used to approach as a math teacher. The first one is what we call, what is it called? The technology integration. Technology integration. Of course, you know the children we are dealing with today, they are digital native. And they are digital native to the level that even some of them, their births were through technology. So if you really want them to enjoy mathematics these days, you have to do what we call gamification. Gamification was in 2019 to become one of the translators for the University of Colorado in US. So because these children are digital native, and even myself, as I'm talking to you, I already have a platform that I've designed to use gamification in teaching the student. And in this gamification, there are some that are cloud-based solutions that I use, and there are some that have devised a means to study the algorithm of number. Let's take, for instance, now, if I want to multiply 21 multiplied by 11, what I will just do is that I have 2 and 1 there. If I add 2 plus 1, it will give me 3. If I put 3 in between 2 and 1, it will become 231. Can you see that? So let's take, for instance, another example. If I want to multiply, let's say I want to multiply 53 multiplied by 11. We have 5 and 3. If I add 5 plus 3, it will become 8. If I put that 8 in between, that becomes 583. So I was able to do that because I studied the algorithm of number, and those are the gamification you can give to students in the class to understand the concept of mathematics, even to break it down to their level. So that is the first approach, which is technology integration in the teaching of mathematics. Another approach that I'm using is that I use what we call mathematics clinic. Mathematics clinic, just of recent, I just won what we call Global Teacher Prize. The Global Teacher Grant is a funded grant from university, from US government. So as a Fulbright fellow, I'm entitled to get a kind of support from US government, to do that. So the initiative I'm funding now is what we call mathematics clinic. Of course, majority of us, we know that a clinic is a place where you attend to somebody that is sick. So if you have students that are not mathematically oriented or that did not really have interest in mathematics, it means they were sick mathematically. So you have to take such students to mathematics clinic. At that mathematics clinic, they will have a card where they will not discuss it with anybody. They will only discuss it with the mathematics clinic doctor. So where you just write the topic you are having issue with and give it to your mathematics doctor. And mathematics doctor will understand that and will just go to the topic and treat it with you. That is the second approach. The third approach I'm using is what I call CRP. That is culturally relevant pedagogy. That is what I pitch for Global Teacher that won me Global Teacher. So culturally relevant pedagogy is that every individual have their own primary language. As I'm talking to you now, if I say gracia, it means I'm saying thank you in Spanish. So I only know gracia in Spanish. That is thank you in Spanish. So those people that are speaking that Spanish happen to be their primary language, the ideas of my culturally relevant pedagogy is that teach them without Spanish. Those that teach French, I can say bonjour, 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 bonjour mademoiselle, bonjour professeur, la professeur. So those that speak French, use French to teach them mathematics. You come to Nigeria now, I will use Nigerian language to teach you mathematics, especially for students at the elementary stages. And that is what I mean by culturally relevant pedagogy. So when you do that, every example you want to cite, there must be an example they can see within that geographical location. And this will make the difficult concept in mathematics simple for the student. and it will make their the learning of mathematics become simple for that student. So those are the three approaches I'm using in mathematics as in my own class as a mathematics teacher. The first approach is what? Gamification or technology integration in mathematics. The second approach is mathematics clinic approach. And the third approach is what? Culturally relevant pedagogy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. One more question. How can we ensure that the abstract concepts of logic and mathematics are intuitively understood by students, especially to those without a solid foundation in these areas?
I didn't get the question. Can you break it down?
Yeah. How can we ensure that the abstract concepts of logic and mathematics are intuitively understood by students, especially to those without a solid foundation in these areas? Right?
Okay. Wait. Can we do it in this way? Can you type it in English and then let me see?
I can write in the message.
Okay, are you talking about logic? Are you talking? Okay, how can we ensure that the abstract concept of logic and mathematics are intuitively understood by students, especially those without a solid foundation in this area? Of course, I've stylishly answered that while I was talking about culturally relevant pedagogy. That is when you are talking about, abstract concepts of logic in mathematics. They are the concepts that are very abstract in nature to explain. And if you as a teacher can use what we call culturally relevant pedagogy, you are using the local language to explain the concept to the student. They will definitely understand the concept. Of course, many of our students, they watch football. Okay, if a player on the field is tired, instead of the player to just go out of the field, he or she will just raise his or her hand to call for the attention of the referee, and the referee will signal to the linesman. The linesman will do what we call substitution. That means they will bring out the player from the field, and they will replace him or her with another player who is already benched. So such thing now that has happened now, when I go into some abstract logic in mathematics, I can use such scenario to explain substitution in mathematics. So those are those areas where gamification, culturally relevant pedagogy can work for you as a teacher to teach those abstract concepts, especially for logic in mathematics. So you have to devise the means to break down those difficult concepts into your primary language. For Mexican now, I think Mexican you speak Spanish. Some of you speak Spanish. Is that right? Mexico, what language did you speak in Mexico? Hello?
Hi, Professor.
Yes, what language do you speak in
Spanish.
Yes, Spanish. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So Spanish. So if I say gracia, I talk about chepa. I talk about chepa. Hola. Something like that. Yes, I've tried to study the primary language, and I have to look for a way to break down those concepts in Spanish, not in English, because those children who are actually reasoning in Spanish. The primary language their parents will be using to communicate with them is going to be in Spanish, not in English. They were only learning English because when they leave Mexico, they may likely encounter with people that did not understand Spanish. So it is just for means of communication, but for knowledge to take place, they have to use that Spanish to teach them. And that is what I tag as culturally relevant pedagogy. So they have to look for instructional material around Mexican. The Mexican, probably they want to talk about the process to cook soup or every other thing. You have to look for Mexican soup. You have to look for Mexican everything to do that. And in doing that, you are adopting what I call culturally relevant pedagogy. And those are those things that can simplify those abstract concepts in mathematics, especially in logic, for them to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. My thanks to you. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much for your talk. Thank you. Muy bien, pues bueno, nos sentimos muy contentos de haber escuchado al profesor